Something has been stirring in the unseen realm. Something powerful, something deliberate, something with your name on it. While others are distracted, doubting, and discouraged, God has been watching you quietly, patiently, faithfully. You may not feel special, you may not feel chosen, you may even feel forgotten, but hear this with the deepest part of your spirit. When God chooses a person, He does not announce it with noise. He proves it with provision. And there are moments when His provision does not come as sweat, strain, or sorrow, but as sudden favor, unexpected access, and resources appearing where logic cannot explain them. That is why I say this boldly and without hesitation. There are chosen ones, and when the time is right, God knows how to place provision directly into their hands, even into places they did not expect, even into accounts they did not imagine would overflow. God is not poor. God is not limited. God is not nervous about economies, inflation, systems, or structures. Everything belongs to Him. The gold, the silver, the opportunities, the doors, the ideas, the networks, and the timing. When God looks at a chosen one, He does not ask whether the world approves. He asks whether the heart is aligned, because alignment attracts provision, obedience attracts access, faith attracts movement. And when God decides to move on behalf of a person who has stayed faithful in silence, who has endured seasons of lack without losing trust, who has refused to compromise integrity for shortcuts, He can release provision in ways that shock the mind and silence the critics. Many people struggle because they believe money is a reward for effort alone. Effort matters, yes, but divine provision goes beyond effort. There are people who work harder than you and still struggle. There are people less qualified than you who advance faster. Why? Because there is an unseen hand involved. God is the one who promotes. God is the one who opens streams in dry places. God is the one who causes favor to rest on certain individuals for purposes bigger than comfort. When God places provision into the life of a chosen one, it is not just to satisfy desire, it is to fulfill assignment. That is why your journey has been different. That is why your delays have been strange. That is why your breakthroughs will be undeniable. Do not think for a moment that God does not understand numbers. Do not think He is unaware of bills, deadlines, responsibilities, or pressures. God knows exactly what you need and when you need it. He knows how much is required, not just to survive, but to advance. And when the appointed time comes, He does not always send it through years of gradual buildup. Sometimes He releases it suddenly. Sometimes He causes one opportunity to outweigh 10 years of struggle. Sometimes He causes one decision to unlock what effort could not. This is the nature of divine favor. It does not move according to human fairness. It moves according to divine purpose. Chosen ones often go through seasons where nothing makes sense. You pray, yet delays continue. You give, yet resources feel tight. You believe, yet doors close. But what you do not see is that God is refining your capacity. He is strengthening your character so that when provision arrives, it does not destroy you. Money in the wrong hands can ruin a life. Provision without wisdom can become a curse. That is why God tests the heart before He fills the hands. He watches how you respond when no one is applauding. He observes how you handle disappointment. He examines whether you will remain faithful when it would be easier to quit. And when He is satisfied, He releases what He has been holding back. There is a difference between chasing money and receiving provision. Those who chase money are controlled by fear. Those who receive provision are guided by trust. Chasing makes you anxious. Trust makes you steady. Chasing makes you compromise. Trust makes you patient. When God provides, it does not come with chaos. It comes with peace. Even when it arrives suddenly, it settles deeply. It confirms rather than confuses. It strengthens rather than inflates. And that is how you will know it is from God. Not just because the numbers change, but because your spirit becomes calm. Some of you have been wondering how it will happen. You look at your current situation and see no logical path. You look at your qualifications and feel insufficient. You look at your connections and see limitations. But God does not require your explanation. He requires your expectation. The moment you limit God to what you can understand, you shrink the possibilities. God does not need permission from systems to bless His chosen ones. He can cause one conversation to change everything. He can cause one approval to unlock resources. He can cause one idea to generate streams you never imagined. He can cause one act of obedience to trigger a chain reaction of provision. Do not be ashamed of believing that God can bless you financially. Poverty is not humility. Struggle is not holiness. Lack is not virtue. God is not glorified when His chosen ones live beneath their assignment. He is glorified when provision meets purpose. He is glorified when resources empower impact. He is glorified when the hands He blesses become channels, not containers. That is why your blessing will not look like greed. It will look like responsibility. It will not look like arrogance. It will look like stewardship. It will not look like excess. It will look like alignment. There are people listening who have felt guilty for wanting more. You were told that desiring provision was selfish, but understand this: God plants desires before He fulfills them. Not every desire comes from ego. Some desires come from destiny. Some desires are indicators of future responsibility. God does not place vision in a heart without planning provision to support it. The problem is not wanting more. The problem is wanting more for the wrong reasons. When your desire is connected to purpose, God has no problem supplying the resources. Chosen ones often face criticism when they begin to rise. When provision starts to appear, when doors begin to open, when momentum shifts, people will question you. They will assume shortcuts. They will accuse pride. They will misunderstand favor. But do not waste energy explaining what God did. Those who watched you struggle in silence will not understand your sudden elevation. And that is fine. Favor does not require explanation. Provision does not need permission. God does not consult opinions before He blesses His own. There is also a timing element that cannot be ignored. God is precise. He is never late and He is never early. He moves when the moment is mature. You may have wanted provision years ago, but if it had come then, it would have distracted you from development. It would have weakened your discipline. It would have magnified immaturity. So God waited, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Preparation is not denial. Delay is not rejection. Silence is not absence. God was working while you were waiting. And now, many of you are entering a season where the weight of responsibility is increasing. Your thinking is sharp. Your patience is deeper. Your priorities are clearer. You no longer chase attention. You no longer need validation. You have learned to trust God without applause. These are signs of readiness. These are indicators that your capacity has expanded. And when capacity expands, provision follows. God does not pour into vessels that cannot hold, but when He sees stability, He releases supply. Understand this deeply. God does not give provision randomly. He gives it intentionally. He knows who will waste it and who will multiply it. He knows who will become arrogant and who will remain grounded. He knows who will forget Him and who will honor Him. That is why being chosen is not about favoritism, it is about trust. God trusts certain individuals with resources because He knows their hearts. He knows they will not abandon values when abundance arrives. He knows they will not lose compassion when comfort increases. Some of you have been faithful with very little. You manage scarcity with dignity. You handle lack without bitterness. You learn discipline and restriction. These seasons were not meant to break you, they were meant to build you. And because you did not quit, because you did not corrupt yourself, because you did not turn away from God when it was hard, you are now positioned differently. What once felt like punishment was actually preparation. When provision arrives, it may come through channels you did not expect. Do not dismiss it because it does not match your imagination. God is creative. He is not limited to one method. He can bless through business, through employment, through gifts, through ideas, through favor, through timing, through connections, through solutions. Sometimes He blesses by removing obstacles rather than adding income. Sometimes He blesses by reducing expenses rather than increasing earnings. Sometimes He blesses by giving wisdom that produces long-term stability instead of temporary relief. Do not rush the process. Anxiety shortens patience. Fear clouds discernment. When God begins to move, stay grounded. Do not announce prematurely. Do not exaggerate. Do not boast. Let the results speak. Let consistency prove it. Let humility protect it. God resists pride, but He sustains the humble. The same God who gives can also withdraw, not because He is cruel, but because He is holy. Honor keeps provision flowing. Gratitude keeps favor active. There will be moments when you are tempted to compare your journey with others. Do not do that. Comparison weakens gratitude. What God is doing with you is specific. The pace, the pattern, the pressure, all are designed for your assignment. Some receive early and struggle later. Some struggle early and rise later. Some receive gradually. Some receive suddenly. None of these patterns are superior. They are simply different. What matters is alignment, not appearance. If you are listening to this and feeling a stirring inside, it is because something resonates. Truth recognizes truth. Calling responds to calling. God often confirms His intentions before He reveals His methods. That inner awareness, that quiet expectation, that sense that something is shifting, do not ignore it. It is not imagination, it is alignment. When God is about to move, He prepares the heart before He changes the circumstance. Remain faithful in what you are currently assigned. Do not despise small beginnings. Do not neglect discipline while waiting for provision. Integrity in private attracts favor in public. How you handle today determines how you will handle tomorrow. God watches the unseen moments. He observes how you treat people who cannot benefit you. He notices how you speak when you are under pressure. These details matter. Provision flows toward character, not charisma. When the increase comes, remember where it came from. Remember the nights of prayer. Remember the seasons of uncertainty. Remember the moments when you had nothing but trust. Memory protects humility. Gratitude preserves favor. Never assume you are self-made. Everything you have is entrusted, not owned. Stewardship is the language of the chosen. And understand this as well. Provision does not mean the absence of challenges. It means the presence of support. You may still face resistance. You may still encounter opposition, but you will no longer face it empty-handed. God does not remove all battles. He equips His chosen ones to win them. Resources are tools, not trophies. Use them wisely. Some of you are closer than you think. The shift is not years away, it is alignment away. One decision, one act of obedience, one moment of courage, one step of faith. God often waits for movement before He releases momentum. Not because He is hesitant, but because He honors free will. Move when He prompts. Act when He nudges. Trust when He calls. Do not let past disappointments define your expectations. Yesterday's delays do not cancel tomorrow's provision. God is not bound by your history. He is not limited by your mistakes. He is not discouraged by your failures. When you realign, He restores. When you return, He rebuilds. When you trust, He responds. There is a difference between wishing and believing. Wishing hopes without commitment. Believing aligns actions with expectation. Live as someone who trusts God's timing. Speak as someone who expects God's provision. Act as someone who knows God is faithful. Faith is not noise, it is consistency. It is showing up even when results are delayed. As provision begins to manifest, protect your peace. Not everyone deserves access to your process. Not everyone needs to know your next move. Silence is not secrecy, it is wisdom. God often does hide greatest work away from the crowd. Let Him finish before you announce. Let the fruit appear before you explain the seed. You were not overlooked. You were being prepared. You were not denied. You were being aligned. You were not forgotten. You were being refined. And when God decides the moment has come, no system can stop it. No opinion can block it. No limitation can prevent it. Provision obeys purpose. Favor follows alignment. And when God releases what He has promised, it will not need justification. It will not require apology. And it will not come with confusion, because the same God who tested you in lack will sustain you in abundance, and He will continue to guide you, stretch you, and trust you with more as long as your heart remains aligned, your spirit remains humble, and your focus remains fixed on Him alone. Because this journey is not about money, it is about trust. And trust is what allows God to move freely through a chosen life, releasing provision at the right time, in the right way, for the right purpose, as you continue to walk forward without fear, without doubt, and without shrinking back, knowing that what God begins, He continues, and what He entrusts, He sustains, and what He releases into your hands is meant to flow through your life in a way that reflects His wisdom, His timing, and His sovereign will, as you remain attentive, faithful, and grounded, step by step, moment by moment, trusting that He is still working even now. What many do not realize is that God's way of blessing does not always match human expectation. People assume provision must come only through visible labor, predictable paths, or approval from powerful figures. But God delights in overturning assumptions. He specializes in routes no one planned, channels no one noticed, and outcomes no one predicted. When God decides to elevate a chosen one, He often bypasses traditi, ownal gates, and creates a new door altogether. This is why some blessings arrive without warning, without explanation, and without precedent. It is not chaos, it is divine sovereignty in motion. There are seasons when God intentionally hides His work until the moment of release. During those times, you may feel unseen, unappreciated, or underestimated. Yet hiddenness is not neglect, it is protection. God hides what He values until it is strong enough to stand without being destroyed by opinion, envy, or premature exposure. Just as seeds grow best underground, God often grows provision quietly, strengthening roots before allowing fruit to appear. When the time comes, what emerges will not be fragile, it will be firm. Understand that God does not measure readiness by excitement, but by stability. He does not release resources to impress you. He releases them to empower you. Emotional readiness matters. Mental discipline matters. Spiritual maturity matters. That is why some people receive much and lose it quickly, while others receive steadily and build legacy. God studies patterns. He watches consistency. He sees whether you can handle increase without losing focus. Increase reveals who you really are. God prepares you for that revelation before He allows it. There is also a deeper truth. Provision is often connected to courage. God does not only respond to prayer, He responds to movement. When you take steps aligned with purpose, you signal trust. Faith that never moves remains incomplete. There are doors that open only when you reach for them. There are resources that activate only when you step forward. God honors bold obedience, not reckless action, but courageous alignment. When fear says wait and God says move, obedience becomes the key that unlocks supply. Many chosen ones struggle because they underestimate the power of focus. Distraction drains energy. Scatter. Attention weakens discipline. God often simplifies before He multiplies. He removes unnecessary noise so you can hear direction clearly. He narrows your focus so your strength is concentrated. Do not resist simplification. When God strips away excess, He is making room for efficiency. When He removes distractions, He is sharpening purpose. Focus attracts provision because it demonstrates stewardship. Another truth that must be understood is that God's provision is often progressive. Even when it appears suddenly, it unfolds in layers. He gives access before abundance. He gives wisdom before wealth. He gives opportunity before overflow. Each layer tests your response. Will you become impatient? Will you become careless? Or will you remain disciplined? Each response determines what comes next. God builds incrementally, even within sudden shifts. There are moments when God challenges your mindset before He changes your circumstances. If your thinking is small, provision will feel overwhelming. If your thinking is fearful, provision will feel risky. If your thinking is entitled, provision will feel insufficient. God expands the mind so the hands can hold more. That is why growth often feels uncomfortable. Your old thinking cannot sustain new levels. Renewal is required. Alignment is required. Humility is required. Do not underestimate the role of gratitude in sustaining provision. Gratitude is not politeness, it is recognition. When you recognize God as the source, you stay connected to the flow. When gratitude fades, entitlement grows. Entitlement disrupts alignment. Alignment sustains favor. This is why remembering matters. Remember where you started. Remember who sustains you. Remember who opened the door. Memory guards humility, and humility protects increase. Some of you will be tested after provision arrives, not before, after. Tests do not always precede blessing. Sometimes they follow it. How you respond to success matters as much as how you respond to struggle. Will you remain generous? Will you remain grounded? Will you remain attentive to God's voice? Or will comfort dull your sensitivity? God watches closely during seasons of ease because ease reveals dependence. There is also a communal aspect to provision. God rarely blesses one person in isolation. Your increase often intersects with others' needs. Your resources become solutions. Your stability becomes shelter. Your access becomes opportunity for someone else. This is why God chooses carefully. He is not just blessing you, He is positioning you as a channel. When you understand this, responsibility replaces pressure. Purpose replaces anxiety. Let go of the fear of losing what God gives. Fear creates tension. Trust creates peace. God does not give to torment you with anxiety. He gives to empower you with confidence. When you trust the source, you are not afraid of the supply changing. God is not unstable. He is consistent. He is not reactionary. He is intentional. He does not play games with provision. When He entrusts, He commits. There will be times when obedience costs you opportunities. Do not panic. Loss in obedience is temporary. Gain through compromise is fragile. God can restore what obedience costs, but compromise damages integrity. Integrity attracts favor. Favor restores opportunities. Short-term loss protects long-term provision. Trust this process. God sees beyond the moment. If you ever feel overwhelmed by the responsibility of increase, return to alignment. Go back to stillness. Listen again. God does not expect you to figure everything out alone. He guides step by step. Direction reduces pressure. Clarity restores confidence. You are not meant to carry the weight of provision by yourself. God carries what He gives. Some of you are learning that provision does not mean perfection. You will still make mistakes. You will still need correction. But growth continues. God corrects those He trusts. Correction is not rejection, it is investment. When God adjusts you, He's protecting what He placed in your hands. There is a sacred balance between confidence and humility. Confidence allows you to move forward. Humility keeps you grounded. God supplies both when you stay aligned. You do not need to shrink yourself to remain faithful. You also do not need to exalt yourself to prove worth. God establishes identity. Rest in that. As you move forward, remain attentive. God often speaks in subtle prompts. He guides through peace, restraint, timing. Do not rush what requires patience. Do not delay what requires action. Discernment grows with intimacy. Stay close. Stay listening. Your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. What looks slow is precise. What feels delayed is strategic. God has not miscalculated your life. Every step has been accounted for. Every season has served a purpose. And as provision continues to align with purpose, you will recognize that nothing was wasted. Remain steady, remain faithful, remain humble. God is consistent with those who remain aligned. What He entrusts, He sustains. What He begins, He continues. What He releases, He multiplies in the hands of those who walk with awareness, discipline, and trust, allowing His wisdom to guide each step forward as the journey continues to unfold under His direction alone. There is a moment in every chosen life when God shifts the question from can you endure to can you manage? Endurance proves faith, but management proves maturity. God does not only test whether you can survive pressure. He tests whether you can handle responsibility without losing reverence. This is why provision is often accompanied by instruction. God teaches you how to think, how to decide, how to pause, and how to proceed. Wisdom becomes as valuable as resources, because without wisdom, resources scatter, but with wisdom, even small amounts expand. Many people think God's blessings are only about addition, but often they are about alignment. God aligns people, timing, ideas, and circumstances so that provision flows naturally. When alignment happens, things that once felt heavy begin to feel ordered. Confusion fades, direction sharpens. You are not rushing anymore, you are moving with intention. This is a sign that God is preparing you to carry more. Chaos cannot hold increase, but order can sustain it. There is also a truth that few like to hear. God sometimes withholds provision, not because of lack of faith, but because of misplaced focus. When attention is divided, energy leaks. When motives are mixed, clarity weakens. God refines focus so that when He releases provision, it serves the right purpose. He is not interested in feeding distractions. He invests in direction. When your focus becomes clear, provision often follows swiftly. You must also understand that provision does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes it comes quietly, steadily, almost unnoticed. A consistent opportunity, a reliable stream, a stable path. These are just as powerful as sudden breakthroughs. God is not only the God of miracles, He is the God of sustainability. Stability is a form of blessing that many overlook, yet it is often the foundation of lasting impact. Do not dismiss what feels simple. God often works through consistency. There will be moments when God challenges you to release what you are holding tightly, not because He wants to take from you, but because He wants to teach you trust. Tight hands cannot receive, control limits flow. When God asks you to release, He is expanding your capacity. Letting go is not loss. When God is involved, it is preparation for greater responsibility. Trust deepens when you learn that provision does not depend on your grip, but on His guidance. Some of you have experienced sudden stops, plans that collapsed, paths that closed, expectations that dissolved. These moments were not failures, they were redirections. God sometimes blocks paths that would have drained you later. What felt like rejection was protection. What felt like loss was repositioning. Provision flows best where purpose is strongest, and God will always guide you toward alignment, even if the route feels uncomfortable at first. Pay attention to how God develops patience in you. Patience is not passivity, it is controlled strength. It allows you to wait without weakening, to expect without rushing, to prepare without panicking. Patience keeps you grounded when anticipation rises. God uses patience to protect you from premature decisions that could damage long-term provision. Waiting well is a form of faith. Another angle you must recognize is that God often uses relationships as channels of provision, but never as sources. People may open doors, but God gives access. People may recommend, but God establishes. This understanding keeps you humble and free. You are grateful for people without becoming dependent on them. You honor connections without idolizing them. When God is recognized as the source, relationships remain healthy and provision remains balanced. There will be seasons when God stretches your generosity even before abundance arrives. This is not contradiction, it is training. Generosity teaches flow. It teaches trust. It teaches detachment from fear. God watches how you treat resources when they are limited, because it reveals how you will treat them when they are plenty. Giving is not about amount, it is about alignment. A generous heart remains open to increase. You may also notice that as PR. A vision draws nearer. Resistance sometimes increases. Doubt becomes louder. Distractions multiply. Old fears resurface. This is not coincidence. Transitions often bring tension. When God elevates, opposition tests resolve. Do not interpret resistance as a sign to stop. Often it is confirmation that movement is happening. Stay anchored, stay focused, stay aligned. God's provision also carries responsibility towards self-discipline. Discipline protects what God gives. Without discipline, abundance becomes overwhelming. With discipline, even pressure becomes manageable. God teaches you to say no, to pace yourself, to rest, to reflect. Rest is not weakness, it is wisdom. God does not bless burnout, He blesses balance. Remember that provision does not define your worth, it reflects trust. Your value was established long before resources arrived. Money does not elevate identity, alignment does. When you understand this, you remain steady, regardless of fluctuation. You do not panic during lean seasons, and you do not inflate during abundant ones. Stability of identity keeps provision from controlling you. There will be moments when God asks you to step into unfamiliar territory. New levels often require new skills, new thinking, new courage. Fear will try to disguise itself as caution. Discernment will help you distinguish between the two. God does not call you to reckless moves, but He does call you to brave obedience. Growth always stretches comfort. As provision continues to align with purpose, you may feel a deeper sense of accountability. This is healthy. Responsibility sharpens focus. It encourages intentional living. God entrusts more to those who respect the weight of what they carry. Treat provision with reverence, not fear. Respect leads to sustainability. You are not walking this path alone. God's guidance is continuous. He does not give provision and withdraw presence. He remains involved. He corrects gently. He redirects wisely. He supports faithfully. When uncertainty arises, return to stillness. When decisions feel heavy, seek clarity. God does not rush you. He leads you. Every step forward builds on what came before. Nothing is random. Nothing is wasted. Every lesson, every delay, every adjustment has contributed to your readiness. And as the journey continues, provision will continue to align with purpose, not to distract you, not to define you, but to equip you, to strengthen you, and to position you to walk steadily, responsibly, and faithfully under God's guidance. Allowing His wisdom to shape each decision, His timing to direct each movement, and His trust to remain the foundation upon which everything else rests as you continue forward with confidence, humility, and unwavering focus on Him alone. Now hear this clearly as everything comes into focus. The journey of the chosen is not defined by ease, speed, or applause, but by alignment, trust, and obedience. God has been shaping you long before you saw results, preparing you long before provision appeared, strengthening you long before responsibility arrived. What is coming into your life is not accidental and not excessive. It is measured, intentional, and purposeful. God does not misplace resources. He assigns them. And when He assigns provision, He also supplies wisdom, restraint, and direction to sustain it. You were never meant to chase money. You were meant to walk in alignment. When alignment is secure, provision follows naturally. God knows how to release what you need without corrupting what He has built in you. He knows how to bless you without breaking you. He knows how to increase you without distracting you. That is why your path has required patience, discipline, and faith. You were being shaped into someone who could carry what others might mishandle. As you move forward, remain anchored in awareness. Stay attentive to God's guidance. Let humility guard your heart and wisdom guide your steps. Do not fear increase and do not idolize it. Provision is a tool, not an identity. God remains the source, the center, and the sustainer of everything entrusted to you. When your focus stays on Him, peace stays with you, clarity stays before you, and direction stays within reach. What God has begun in your life will continue to unfold with precision. Doors will open at the right time. Resources will align with responsibility. Opportunities will meet preparation. And through every stage, God's presence will remain steady, guiding you with wisdom, strengthening you with trust, and sustaining you with purpose as you walk forward grounded, faithful, and fully aligned with His will. Listen to me carefully, because what I am about to say is not ordinary encouragement, and it is not empty motivation. This is a divine alert for your spirit. You may feel tired, overlooked, delayed, or even forgotten. But I declare to you with absolute conviction that God is about to shock you with unexpected favor. Not the kind you planned for, not the kind you prepared for, but the kind that interrupts your routine, rearranges your future, and silences every voice that doubted what God could do in your life. This moment is not accidental. You did not arrive here by chance. God is positioning your heart to receive something your mind could not predict. There are seasons when God works quietly, invisibly, beneath the surface of your life. You wake up and nothing looks different. You pray and nothing seems to change. You give, you endure, you obey, yet the breakthrough does not announce itself. But hear this truth deeply: silence does not mean absence, and delay does not mean denial. God is never idle. When you cannot trace His hand, you must trust His purpose. The greatest shocks of favor are often prepared in the longest seasons of waiting. What you called stagnation was actually preparation. What you thought was rejection was divine redirection. What looked like loss was God clearing space for something far greater. God does not operate by human logic. He does not need your connections, your qualifications, or your timing. He needs your faith, your obedience, and your willingness to keep standing when everything around you suggests you should sit down and give up. Unexpected favor is God's signature move. It arrives without warning. It breaks patterns. It bypasses systems. It overrides protocols. It places you in rooms you did not apply for and gives you access you did not earn by human standards. When God favors you, no explanation is sufficient, and no opposition is strong enough to stop it. You must understand this clearly. Favor is not a reward for perfection. Favor is a manifestation of God's purpose. If favor were based on flawlessness, no one would qualify. God releases favor because He has decided to advance His plan through your life. That means your mistakes did not cancel your destiny. Your past did not disqualify your future. Your weakness did not diminish God's power. In fact, God often chooses the unlikely so that no one can take credit for what only He could do. When unexpected favor arrives, it leaves no room for pride and no space for doubt. It forces you to say, "This was God alone." There are people listening right now who have been faithful in obscurity. You showed up when no one clapped. You gave when no one noticed. You stayed consistent when recognition never came. And you wondered in quiet moments if God truly saw you. Let me tell you with certainty, God saw every tear, every prayer, every sacrifice, every night you chose faith over fear. And now the season is shifting. Favor is about to move you from being overlooked to being sought after. The same people who ignored you will soon ask how it happened. The same doors that stayed shut will open without resistance. This is how God works when He decides the time has come. Unexpected favor often feels uncomfortable at first because it stretches your self-image. You may have grown used to surviving, but God is calling you into abundance. You may have mastered endurance, but God is inviting you into overflow. Sometimes the greatest challenge is not enduring hardship, but accepting blessing. You must renew your mind to believe that you are allowed to receive what God has promised. Favor requires humility to receive and courage to step into new territory without shrinking back. God is about to shock you because He is tired of you questioning your worth and underestimating His power. He is about to answer prayers you prayed years ago and forgot because you assumed the answer would never come. He is about to restore what you thought was permanently lost. Not gradually, not slowly, but suddenly. Divine favor often moves at a speed that makes up for lost time. One moment can redeem years of delay. One decision from God can reverse a long season of struggle. Do not measure what God is about to do by what you see now. Do not let current circumstances convince you that tomorrow will look the same. God specializes in sudden reversals. He can turn mourning into joy, lack into abundance, confusion into clarity, and insignificance into influence. Favor does not ask for permission from your environment. It creates a new environment. It changes the atmosphere around your life. When God favors you, even resistance becomes a tool for your advancement. You must guard your heart in this season. When favor is near, opposition often intensifies. Doubt will whisper louder. Fear will try to regain control. Old voices will remind you of who you used to be. But this is not the time to look backward. This is the time to align your thoughts with God's promise. Favor responds to faith, not passive belief, but active expectation. Expectation that God can do what? He said, expectation that your life is not ordinary because your God is not ordinary. There are doors God will open that you are not ready for emotionally unless you mature spiritually. That is why He has been stretching your patience, strengthening your character, and deepening your trust. Favor without maturity can crush a person, but favor with humility elevates them. God is not just blessing you for you, He is positioning you to be a vessel through which others will see His goodness. Your life will become evidence that God still intervenes, still restores, still surprises. When unexpected favor comes, it will not always look glamorous at first. Sometimes it comes disguised as responsibility. Sometimes it arrives as an assignment that feels heavy before it feels rewarding. But if God places it in your hands, He will place strength in your spirit to carry it. Do not reject what feels unfamiliar. Do not fear what stretches you. God does not shock you to overwhelm you. He shocks you to awaken you to who you were created to be. There are moments when God accelerates what should have taken years. He compresses time. He fast-tracks growth. He redeems delays. This acceleration can feel overwhelming if you are not anchored in faith. That is why you must remain grounded in your relationship with God, not intoxicated by outcomes. Favor is a gift, not an identity. God is the source, not the blessing itself. Stay close to Him, and the favor will not corrupt you. It will refine you. I speak to those who feel invisible, those who feel stuck, those who feel like they missed their moment. You have not missed anything. God is never late. He operates on divine timing, not human schedules. What He has planned for you will arrive at the exact moment it can produce the greatest impact. Favor delayed is not favor denied. It is favor perfected. You may not see it yet, but God is arranging circumstances behind the scenes. Conversations are happening without your knowledge. Decisions are being influenced without your presence. Paths are being cleared without your effort. This is what makes it shocking. You did not orchestrate it. You did not manipulate it. You did not force it. God did it. And when it happens, you will know that it could not have been anyone else. Do not sabotage the season of favor with negative speech. Words have power. Speak in alignment with what God has promised, not what fear suggests. Even when you feel uncertain, choose to speak faith. Even when the evidence is lacking, choose to trust. Favor responds to agreement. When your words align with God's will, you create space for His power to manifest. God is about to elevate you in ways that will require new levels of wisdom. Ask for understanding. Ask for discernment. Ask for a heart that remains teachable. Favor can attract attention, but wisdom sustains influence. God does not just want to bless you, He wants to keep you blessed. Stay anchored, stay humble, stay obedient. There will be moments when you feel undeserving of what God is doing. That feeling is not humility, it is insecurity. True humility accepts what God gives with gratitude and stewardship. You honor God not by rejecting His gifts, but by using them according to His purpose. Unexpected favor is an invitation to deeper responsibility, not self-indulgence. Remember this, God shocks you not to impress you, but to reveal Himself through you. Your testimony will speak louder than your words. Your transformation will challenge the assumptions of those who counted you out. Your progress will provoke questions that lead others to seek God for themselves. This is bigger than personal success. This is divine alignment. What you must recognize now is that unexpected favor does not come to those who merely hope. It comes to those who are aligned. Alignment is when your heart agrees with God, even when your environment disagrees with you. Alignment is when you refuse to let disappointment dictate your devotion. Many people want favor, but they resist alignment. They want God's hand, but not God's process. Yet every shock of favor is preceded by a season where God corrects your perspective, purifies your motives, and sharpens your obedience. God is not preparing favor to entertain you. He is preparing favor to entrust you. There are moments when God deliberately allows pressure to remain longer than you would like, not to punish you, but to strengthen your spiritual capacity. Pressure expands endurance, and endurance expands authority. When favor arrives, it brings weight with it, weight of responsibility, weight of visibility, weight of impact. If your inner foundation is weak, the blessing becomes a burden. That is why God has been teaching you to rely on Him rather than outcomes, to trust His voice rather than applause, to value integrity more than speed. What felt like delay was actually reinforcement. Understand this truth deeply. God never releases favor randomly. It is always strategic. It always serves a higher purpose than personal comfort. Favor may lift you, but it also positions you as a signpost. People will look at your life and realize that God intervenes, that God restores, that God elevates. This is why humility must remain your posture. The moment you think favor is about proving yourself, you disconnect from its source. Favor flows best through surrender, not self-exaltation. There will be moments when favor isolates you before it introduces you. God sometimes separates you before He promotes you. He pulls you away from familiar circles so that your identity is no longer shaped by human expectations. Isolation is not abandonment, it is refinement. In those quiet seasons, God speaks with clarity. He dismantles false confidence and replaces it with unshakable trust. When you no longer need validation, you are ready for elevation. God is also about to surprise you by using unlikely pathways. Favor does not always arrive through the door you expected. Sometimes it comes through what you once considered a setback. Sometimes it arrives through people you never imagined would support you. Sometimes it comes through a closed door that forces you onto a better path. This is why discernment is essential. Do not cling to what God is removing. What He takes away cannot compare to what He is about to release. Be mindful of this. When favor is near, distractions multiply. The enemy of destiny is not always opposition. Sometimes it is comfort. Sometimes it is busyness. Sometimes it is familiarity. God may disturb your comfort to preserve your calling. He may unsettle you so that you do not settle beneath your potential. Favor requires movement, and movement requires courage. You cannot receive what God is doing next while clinging to what He has already completed. God is shifting your identity from survivor to steward. You have learned how to endure, but now you must learn how to manage increase. Increase tests character more than lack ever did. It reveals priorities. It exposes motives. This is why gratitude must become your daily discipline. Gratitude keeps your heart soft. Gratitude keeps you aware that everything you have flows from God, not from your own strength. A grateful heart remains teachable, and a teachable heart remains favor. You may feel unqualified for what God is about to do. But qualification comes from obedience, not perfection. God does not call the equipped, He equips the called. Your willingness matters more than your readiness. If God has chosen you, He has already accounted for your limitations. He will supply wisdom where you lack it, strength where you feel weak, and clarity where you feel uncertain. Favor is not about self-sufficiency. It is about divine sufficiency. There are divine connections ahead that will recognize your value without you having to explain yourself. God will align you with people who see beyond your past and into your purpose. These connections will not drain you. They will sharpen you. They will not compete with you. They will complement you. Favor often manifests through relationships that accelerate growth and expand vision. Stay discerning, but stay open. God knows who to connect you with at the right moment. Guard your inner dialogue. What you say to yourself in private shapes how you walk in public. Do not allow old narratives of limitation to speak louder than God's promise. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not insignificant. God is intentional, and every step of your journey has been accounted for. Replace self-doubt with surrender. Replace fear with faith. Favor responds to a mind that agrees with God's truth. When the shock of favor comes, it may require you to make swift decisions. Delayed obedience can dilute momentum. Learn to move when God moves. Hesitation rooted in fear can cause you to miss the fullness of what God intends. Trust does not mean you understand everything. It means you step forward believing that God is guiding you even when the path is unfamiliar. Faith is not the absence of questions. It is the presence of trust. God is also preparing you to handle criticism that comes with visibility. Favor attracts attention, and attention attracts opinions. Not everyone will celebrate what God is doing in your life. Some will misunderstand it. Some will minimize it. Some will resent it. Do not internalize voices that are not aligned with God's assignment for you. Approval from God outweighs acceptance from PE. Opal, stay focused, stay grounded, stay obedient. Remember that favor is sustained by obedience. God does not bless compromise. He blesses alignment. When you honor Him with your decisions, your integrity, and your priorities, you create a channel for continued favor. Obedience may cost you comfort, but disobedience costs you purpose. Choose wisely. Every small act of obedience compounds into long-term impact. There is also healing attached to this season of favor. God is not just changing your circumstances, He is restoring your confidence. He is repairing areas where disappointment left scars. He is rebuilding trust where hope was broken. Favor does not just open doors externally, it heals wounds internally. As God lifts you, He also strengthens you so that you do not carry old pain into new blessings. You must also be willing to release control. Favor often unfolds in ways that challenge your plans. If you insist on controlling outcomes, you may resist divine direction. Trust God's wisdom above your strategy. His perspective is eternal. What you see as risk, He sees as alignment. What you see as uncertainty, He sees as opportunity. Surrender is not weakness, it is spiritual intelligence. God is about to reintroduce you to yourself. You will recognize strength you did not know you had, courage you did not realize was growing, faith you did not know had matured. Favor reveals capacity. It exposes potential. It calls you higher. Answer that call without shrinking back. You were created for this moment, shaped by every season that came before it. Stay faithful in the unseen moments. Favor does not replace discipline, it amplifies it. What you do consistently in private sustains what God reveals publicly. Continue to seek God, honor Him, and walk with integrity. The shock of favor is not the destination, it is the doorway into greater responsibility, deeper purpose. and expanded impact. As you continue forward, let your heart remain anchored in trust. Let your spirit remain sensitive. Let your obedience remain firm. God is not finished. What He has begun, He will complete. The unexpected favor ahead is not an accident, it is a fulfillment. Walk boldly, receive humbly, trust fully. God is moving and your life is about to reflect His power in ways that will leave no doubt that He alone orchestrates the rise, the shift, and the unfolding of destiny through those who choose to believe, obey, and remain aligned with His will. There is a level of favor that does not just change what you have, but transforms who you are becoming. God is not merely interested in adjusting your circumstances. He is shaping your capacity to carry what is next. Favor without inner growth creates imbalance, but favor released at the right time produces stability, influence, and longevity. That is why God has been intentional with your journey. He has allowed certain battles so you would learn dependence. He has allowed certain disappointments so you would develop discernment. He has allowed certain delays so your faith would mature beyond emotion into conviction. You must understand that faith is not optimism. Faith is agreement with God even when evidence is absent. Faith is standing firm when logic tells you to retreat. Faith is continuing to move forward when comfort would prefer you to stay where you are. God responds to faith that is resilient, not reactive. Many people believe when things go well, but true faith is revealed when you trust God in uncertainty. That kind of faith attracts favor that cannot be explained by circumstance. God is also teaching you to listen more closely. Favor often follows sensitivity. When your heart becomes attuned to God's direction, you begin to recognize opportunities others overlook. You sense when to speak and when to remain silent. You know when to move and when to wait. This discernment is not accidental, it is cultivated through intimacy with God. The closer you walk with Him, the clearer His guidance becomes, and clarity invites confidence. There will be moments when God's favor disrupts your expectations. What you thought would happen one way may unfold entirely differently. Do not resist divine interruption. God's interruptions are often invitations to a higher outcome. When He reroutes your path, it is not to confuse you, but to protect you from limits you could not yet see. Trust that God's vision is broader than your understanding, and His wisdom exceeds your planning. God is also about to challenge your comfort with familiarity. Familiarity can dull gratitude and limit growth. Sometimes God removes what feels secure to introduce what is purposeful. This does not mean He is taking from you. It means He is expanding you. Favor requires adaptability, the willingness to learn, to adjust, to evolve without losing your core values. Growth does not require you to abandon who you are. It requires you to become more fully who God designed you to be. Do not underestimate the power of obedience in small things. Large breakthroughs are often preceded by quiet acts of faithfulness. When you honor God in unseen moments, you position yourself for visible favor. Obedience sharpens spiritual authority. It aligns your will with God's will. It creates a pathway for trust to deepen. God entrusts more to those who steward well what they already have. There will be seasons when favor feels heavy because it exposes areas that still need healing. God does not elevate you to embarrass you. He elevates you to refine you. When light increases, shadows become visible. Do not be discouraged by this. It is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of growth. Allow God to heal what surfaces. Healing. NG preserves favor by strengthening your inner foundation. You must also prepare for moments when favor requires restraint. Not every opportunity is meant to be pursued. Not every door that opens is meant to be entered. Discernment protects destiny. God may open multiple paths, but wisdom helps you choose the one aligned with His purpose. Favor is not about accumulation, it is about alignment. Choose what brings peace, not just what brings gain. God is reshaping how you define success. Success is not speed, it is sustainability. It is not visibility, it is faithfulness. It is not applause, it is obedience. Favor anchored in these values endures beyond seasons and trends. God wants your impact to outlast moments and your influence to reflect His character. When your definition of success aligns with God's heart, favor flows without distortion. There will be times when God asks you to release something that looks good so He can give you something that is right. This requires trust. It requires faith that God's provision is not limited to what you can see. When you release what God has outgrown, you make room for what He has prepared. Holding on too tightly can prevent you from receiving fully. God is also calling you to steward your voice wisely. Favor amplifies influence, and influence carries responsibility. Your words will matter more. Your actions will be observed more closely. Choose integrity over impulse. Choose wisdom over reaction. Let your life speak consistency. Favor sustained through character becomes a testimony that draws others toward God's faithfulness. In this season, patience will remain essential. Even as favor accelerates certain areas, God may still ask you to wait in others. Waiting does not mean stagnation, it means trust. Waiting refines motives and strengthens resolve. God's timing is precise. He releases favor when it will produce the jari. At its impact, not just the quickest relief. You are also being trained to recognize when God is stretching your faith beyond comfort into confidence. Confidence rooted in God is not arrogance, it is assurance. Assurance that He is with you. Assurance that He is guiding you. Assurance that what He has promised, He will fulfill. Walk with that assurance. Let it steady your steps and anchor your decisions. Do not allow comparison to distract you. God's favor unfolds uniquely for each person. Comparing your journey to another's can distort your gratitude and weaken your focus. What God is doing in you is intentional. Your pace, your path, your process all serve a purpose. Stay faithful to your assignment. What is meant for you will not bypass you. As favor continues to unfold, remember that generosity preserves blessing. What flows through you remains alive. When you give freely, time, compassion, encouragement, you align with God's heart. Favor hoarded stagnates, favor shared multiplies. Let your life reflect openness rather than fear of loss. God is your source, and His supply does not diminish. You are entering a season where your faith will be tested at a higher level, not to weaken you, but to establish you. Tests refine trust. They clarify commitment. They separate surface belief from deep conviction. Stand firm. What God is building in you now will sustain what He releases next. Stay attentive, stay obedient, stay humble. Favor is unfolding layer by layer, moment by moment. God is weaving purpose through every detail. What appears ordinary now will soon reveal extraordinary meaning. Trust the process, trust the timing, trust the one who holds your future with perfect wisdom and unwavering power, continuing to guide, strengthen, elevate, and unfold His favor in ways that will leave no doubt that He alone is the author of every breakthrough, every transformation, and every new horizon opening before you. There is also a sacred discipline God is cultivating within you right now, and that discipline is trust beyond explanation. God is teaching you to trust Him not only when things make sense, but especially when they do not. This level of trust is rare and it is powerful. It is the kind of trust that allows God to move freely in your life without resistance, without constant questioning, without fear interrupting obedience. When you reach this depth of surrender, favor no longer has to fight its way into your life. It flows naturally. God knows exactly how much pressure your faith can carry, and He will never allow more than what will strengthen you. What feels overwhelming is often a sign that God is expanding your spiritual capacity. Expansion is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. If God did not intend to elevate you, He would not be stretching you. Stretching always precedes enlargement. Favor requires room, and God is creating that room within you. There are moments when God intentionally hides the outcome so that your obedience remains pure. If you knew exactly how everything would turn out, your faith might shift from trust to transaction. God desires relationship, not negotiation. He wants your heart, not just your agreement. That is why He often asks you to walk without seeing the full picture. Every step taken in faith strengthens intimacy, and intimacy invites favor that is rooted in closeness, not convenience. God is also refining your patience so that you do not confuse urgency with importance. Not everything that demands immediate attention deserves your energy. Favor requires focus. God may call you to slow down so you can discern what truly matters. Speed without direction leads to exhaustion, but movement guided by God produces lasting impact. Learn to rest without guilt, to pause without fear, and to wait without anxiety. Waiting in God's presence is not wasted time, it is preparation. You are also learning how to respond rather than react. Reaction is driven by emotion. Response is guided by wisdom. Favor increases influence, and influence requires emotional discipline. God is teaching you how to remain steady in moments that once shook you. This steadiness is evidence of growth. It shows that your confidence is no longer rooted in circumstances, but anchored in God's consistency. There is a quiet authority forming in you. It does not need to announce itself. It does not demand recognition. It is the authority that comes from walking closely with God and aligning your life with His truth. This authority attracts respect without striving and favor without manipulation. When you no longer need to prove yourself, God can promote you freely. God is also reminding you that your value is not determined by productivity alone. Rest is not weakness, it is obedience. Even creation follows rhythms established by God. Ignoring rest leads to burnout, and burnout distorts perspective. Favor thrives in balance. When you honor God's design for rest, you protect the clarity needed to steward what He gives. There will be moments when God's favor challenges your assumptions about fairness. You may see others receive what you work for, or doors open for them that remain closed for you. Do not allow comparison to poison your faith. God's justice operates on a scale far greater than human fairness. What He has reserved for you cannot be taken by another. Your assignment is unique, and so is your reward. Stay faithful, stay aligned. God is sharpening your discernment so that you can recognize counterfeit opportunities. Not everything that looks good is God. Favor does not pressure you into haste, it confirms itself through peace. When God is involved, even bold steps carry rants. Learn to recognize that peace. It is a compass that keeps you aligned with God's will. You are also being prepared to carry influence without losing compassion. Favor can elevate your position, but compassion keeps your heart accessible. God values how you treat people when you are rising, just as much as how you trusted Him when you were waiting. Compassion preserves humility. humility sustains favor. God is also strengthening your inner resilience. Resilience allows you to remain grounded when circumstances fluctuate. It enables you to withstand criticism without becoming bitter, and to receive praise without becoming proud. This emotional stability is not accidental. It is cultivated through surrender and trust. Favor anchored in resilience does not collapse under pressure. There will be times when God's favor requires you to speak courageously. Silence may feel safer, but obedience may require boldness. Speak with wisdom, not anger. Speak with truth, not fear. Your voice matters because it carries alignment with God's purpose. Courage rooted in faith releases clarity and establishes authority. God is also reminding you that obedience is not selective. Partial obedience delays favor. Alignment requires consistency. When God prompts you to act, act fully. When He asks you to release, release completely. Half-hearted surrender creates resistance. Wholehearted obedience creates flow. You are entering a phase where God's favor will challenge you to think generationally. What He gives you is not only for your lifetime, it carries implications beyond you. This perspective shifts how you make decisions, how you manage resources, how you invest your energy. Favor that is stewarded with a generational mindset creates lasting legacy. God is inviting you to trust His correction as much as His blessing. Correction is not rejection, it is protection. When God redirects you, He is safeguarding your future. Embrace correction with gratitude. It is evidence of care. Favor that listens to correction grows stronger, not smaller. There is also an invitation to deepen gratitude in this season. Gratitude anchors joy and sharpens awareness. When you recognize God's hand in small things, you position yourself to receive greater things. Gratitude keeps your heart open and your perspective aligned. It transforms waiting into worship and progress into praise. You are learning to move forward without needing reassurance from everyone around you. Confidence rooted in God does not depend on constant affirmation. When God affirms you internally, external validation becomes secondary. This internal assurance frees you from approval-driven decisions and aligns you with purpose-driven living. God is not only shocking you with unexpected favor, He is reshaping how you receive it. He is teaching you to receive without guilt, to enjoy without fear, to walk confidently without pride. Favor received with humility becomes a platform for service, not self-focus. Stay sensitive, stay obedient, stay anchored. The unfolding continues. God is weaving precision into every detail, strength into every step, clarity into every decision, ensuring that what He releases aligns perfectly with who you are becoming. As your trust deepens, your faith strengthens, and your life continues to reflect the unmistakable evidence of God's guidance, power, and intentional favor unfolding moment by moment. Listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to say is not ordinary encouragement. It is a divine awakening. If you are hearing these words right now, it is because God has already marked you for something far greater than survival, far greater than struggle, far greater than barely enough. God is not merely planning to bless you. God is preparing you, shaping you, stretching you, and refining you for a level of provision that will shock your environment, silence your doubters, and force even your past to bow in recognition of what God can do through a willing soul. This is not about money alone, but make no mistake, God is not afraid of abundance, and God does not fear wealth in the hands of the righteous. What God fears is small thinking, fearful obedience, and a heart that cannot carry the weight of blessing without breaking. There is a preparation that always comes before promotion, and many people want the blessing without the burden, the increase without the inner transformation, the harvest without the season of plowing. But God never releases a millionaire level bless into an unprepared spirit. God is too wise to place great resources into a mind that still thinks like a victim, a heart that still resents success, or hands that still tremble at responsibility. If God is delaying something you have prayed for, it is not denial, it is development. God is enlarging your capacity so that when the blessing arrives, it does not crush you, confuse you, or corrupt. You understand this deeply. God does not prepare money for people. God prepares people for money. Money is neutral, but the soul that carries it determines whether it becomes a tool for purpose or a weapon of destruction. That is why God has been working on your character when you thought you needed a miracle. That is why God has been teaching you patience when you ask for speed, discipline, and you ask for ease, wisdom when you ask for opportunity. Every delay has been intentional. Every closed door has been protection. Every silent season has been instruction. You must realize that millionaire blessing is not released in a moment. It is assembled over time. God begins by changing the way you see yourself. You cannot receive what you secretly believe you do not deserve. Many people sabotage divine increase because deep down they still identify with lack, with struggle, with barely making it through. But God is rewriting your identity. God is teaching you to see yourself not as someone trying to get ahead, but as someone entrusted with overflow. When your identity shifts, your decisions shift. When your decisions shift, your outcomes follow. God has been watching how you handle little things, how you manage small resources, how you speak when no one is listening, how you think when pressure rises. Because the blessing that is coming will amplify what already exists within you. If there is fear, it will grow. If there is generosity, it will multiply. If there is discipline, it will expand. This is why God has been so meticulous with your preparation. God is not in a hurry, because eternity is never rushed. There are seasons when God intentionally hides you. You think you are being overlooked, but you are being covered. You think nothing is happening, but everything is happening beneath the surface. Roots grow in silence. Foundations are laid underground, and when the structure rises, it rises quickly, because the unseen work was done thoroughly. God is building depth in you so that when visibility comes, you do not collapse under attention, pressure, or expectation. Do not be deceived into thinking that struggle means you are far from blessing. Often struggle is evidence that you are close. Resistance increases when advancement is near. Pressure intensifies when capacity is expanding. God stretches you not to harm you, but to make room for more. A container that is not stretched cannot hold increased volume. A mind that is not challenged cannot manage increased responsibility. God is stretching your thinking, your patience, your obedience, your endurance. You must also understand that God is training you to hear instruction, not just inspiration. Inspiration excites you, but instruction sustains you. Many people feel good in moments of motivation, but they ignore the daily disciplines that actually create wealth. God speaks through wisdom, through insight, through correction, through uncomfortable truths. When God tells you to change your habits, it is not punishment, it is preparation. When God tells you to let go of certain people, it is not isolation, it is protection. When God tells you to stop complaining and start building, it is because the season of preparation is maturing. God does not bless chaos. God blesses order. That is why your life has been undergoing reorganization. Your priorities are shifting. Your tolerance for distraction is decreasing. Your hunger for purpose is increasing. These are not random changes. They are signs that God is aligning you with a higher level of stewardship. Millionaire blessing R requires the ability to manage complexity without losing peace, to make decisions without panic, to lead without ego. Let me say this clearly. God is not preparing you to become wealthy so that you can prove something to others. God is preparing you to become a channel. A channel does not hoard, it flows. A channel understands that what passes through it is meant to move beyond it. God blesses, though. Who see abundance not as ownership, but as assignment. When God sees a heart that is willing to distribute wisely, God is eager to supply generously. There have been moments when you felt alone, misunderstood, even abandoned, but those moments were classrooms. God was teaching you how to stand without applause, how to remain faithful without recognition, how to keep moving without reassurance. These lessons are critical because when abundance comes, noise increases, opinions multiply, expectations rise, and only those who are anchored internally can navigate external pressure without losing direction. God has also been sharpening your discernment. You are learning to distinguish between opportunity and distraction, between alignment and attachment, between urgency and importance. This discernment is priceless. Many people lose great resources because they cannot say no. God is teaching you restraint before releasing increase. Discipline is not limitation. Discipline is freedom at a higher level. You may not see it yet, but God has already been positioning you. Conversations you thought were casual, skills you thought were insignificant, experiences you thought were painful. All of it is being woven into a future that makes sense only in hindsight. God is a master strategist. Nothing is wasted. Even your mistakes are being recycled into wisdom. There is also a purification happening in your desires. Early on, you may have wanted wealth for comfort, for escape, for validation. But God has been elevating your motives. You are beginning to desire impact, legacy, freedom, serve, ability to build. This shift matters. God responds to pure intention with powerful provision. When the heart aligns with purpose, resources follow naturally. God is also teaching you how to speak. Words shape reality. Complaints reinforce lack. Gratitude attracts increase. Faith-filled language trains the mind to expect expansion. God has been correcting your speech, not to silence you. To empower you. What you repeatedly declare becomes the framework through which you interpret opportunities. Speak like someone who is preparing for overflow, not like someone bracing for disappointment. Understand this, millionaire blessing does not arrive to rescue you from responsibility. It arrives to increase it. That is why God has been strengthening your shoulders. You are becoming more resilient, more focused, more decisive. These traits are not accidental. They are required. Weak foundations cannot support tall structures. God is building you strong from the inside out. There will be moments when fear whispers that you are not ready. That voice is not truth, it is resistance. Readiness is not the absence of fear, it is the willingness to move despite it. God does not wait for perfection. God responds to obedience. Each step you take in alignment builds confidence and clarity. Momentum is born from movement, not from waiting until everything feels safe. God is also teaching you the value of time. Wasted time is wasted potential. Focused time compounds. God has been urging you to guard your attention, to invest your energy wisely. to stop scattering yourself across meaningless pursuits. Concentration is a form of faith. When you commit fully to what God has placed in your hands, growth becomes inevitable. You must recognize that the blessing will not look exactly like you imagined. God often exceeds expectations by arriving through unconventional paths. Stay flexible. Stay teachable. Rigidity resists flow. Humility attracts guidance. God leads those who are willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn. As seasons change, there is a responsibility that comes with being chosen for increase. Not everyone will understand your journey. Some will question your values. Some will project their fears onto your progress. Do not internalize resistance. Stay anchored in purpose. God does not require universal approval. God requires faithful alignment. When the blessing begins to manifest, guard your inner life. Success tests integrity more than failure ever could. Remember who you are. Remember why you started. Remember who sustained you when nothing was visible. Gratitude keeps abundance healthy. Arrogance poisons it. God resists pride, but multiplies humility. You are being trained to think long term. Quick gains can disappear quickly, but wisdom builds generational impact. God is not interested in temporary flashes. God is interested in enduring structures. That is why patience has been such a dominant lesson in your life. Patience is not passive waiting. It is active trust combined with disciplined action. Do not rush the process. What God is constructing in you is rare. Few are willing to endure preparation without applause. Few are willing to be faithful in obscurity. Few are willing to obey when outcomes are uncertain. But those few become the stewards of great influence because they learn to rely on God rather than on circumstances. Even now, God is inviting you to expand your vision, not in arrogance, but in faith. Small vision limits provision. Expanded vision creates demand for greater resources. Ask yourself not what you want to escape, but what you are called to build. Purpose-driven vision attracts purpose-driven supply. Remember that everything God gives you will require management. Wealth unmanaged becomes burden. Influence unmanaged becomes distraction. Freedom unmanaged becomes chaos. God is preparing you to manage well so that the blessing remains a blessing. You are closer than you think. Preparation often feels like delay, but it is actually acceleration happening internally. When the moment arrives, it will seem sudden to others, but you will know it was earned through obedience, endurance, and trust. And as the doors open, as resources increase, as influence expands, keep your heart centered, your mind disciplined, your hands open, because God is not finished with you, and what is being prepared is not just provision, but purpose unfolding in real time, shaping a future that continues to expand beyond what you once thought possible. As long as you remain aligned, attentive, and willing to move forward, even when the path requires faith before clarity, obedience before comfort, and trust before visible evidence of what is already being assembled in the unseen, waiting for the moment when preparati on meets release and the assignment entrusted to you begins to unfold in ways that only God could orchestrate, through a life that continues to say yes even when the full picture is still forming, knowing that every step taken in faith continues to expand the capacity to receive, to manage, and to multiply what is coming. Because the preparation itself is part of the blessing, and the journey is as till unfolding as the work within you continues to deepen, refine, and expand without pause. There is another dimension of preparation that many overlook, and it is the preparation of trust. God does not release great blessing into a heart that still doubts divine timing. Trust is not passive belief, it is active surrender. God has been teaching you to trust even when outcomes are unclear. Even when progress feels slow. Even when prayers seem unanswered. This trust is essential because wealth magnifies independence if trust is weak, but it magnifies dependence on God when trust is strong. God desires you to remain anchored, not anxious, confident, but not controlled by fear. When trust is complete, worry loses its authority. God is also recalibrating how you respond to pressure. Pressure reveals structure. Under pressure, weak systems fail and strong systems hold. God has allowed pressure not to break you, but to show you what needs strengthening. Emotional discipline, mental focus, spiritual consistency, these are not optional where great blessing is involved. God is refining your reactions so that circumstances no longer dictate your peace. Peace is a sign of readiness. A restless soul cannot manage overflow. There is a silent education taking place within you. God has been teaching you how to think strategically, not impulsively. Strategy sees beyond emotion. Strategy weighs consequence. Strategy builds step by step. Millionaire blessing requires foresight, not fantasy. God has been adjusting your expectations so that you no longer chase illusions, but construct reality through wisdom. When your thinking matures, your outcomes stabilize. You must also recognize that God is training you to handle visibility. When resources increase, eyes follow. When influence expands, scrutiny intensifies. God has been strengthening your inner conviction so that praise does not inflate you and criticism does not derail you. Identity rooted in God remains stable regardless of external noise. This stability is rare, and that is why God guards it carefully. God is also teaching you silence. Not every plan needs to be announced. Not every move needs validation. Silence protects momentum. Silence allows God to work without interference. Many blessings are delayed because they are exposed too early to doubt, jealousy, or misunderstanding. God has been teaching you to move quietly, to build privately, and to let results speak with authority when the time is right. There is also a purification of ambition happening. Ambition driven by ego exhausts the soul. Ambition aligned with purpose energizes it. God is not removing your desire to grow. God is refining why you want to grow. When purpose becomes the engine, endurance increases. You stop chasing applause and start yielding substance. Substance attracts sustainable wealth. God is sharpening your awareness of value. You are beginning to understand that value creation precedes value compensation. Wealth flows toward solutions, toward service, toward excellence. God is guiding you to focus on becoming useful, effective, and impactful. When you solve real problems with integrity, provision follows naturally. God blesses contribution, not entitlement. There have been moments when you question your progress, comparing your path to others. God is teaching you to release comparison. Comparison distorts perception and drains focus. Your journey is custom designed. What God is building through you requires specific timing, specific experiences, specific refinement. Trust the process. Alignment matters more hand speed. God is also strengthening your courage. Courage to make decisions without full approval. courage to walk away from what no longer serves your purpose, courage to invest when others hesitate, courage to persist when results are delayed. Courage is not recklessness, it is conviction anchored in trust. God empowers courage because courage unlocks movement. Another layer of preparation is generosity of spirit. Not just giving resources, but giving respect, patience, encouragement. A generous spirit keeps the heart open. Closed hearts restrict flow. God expands those who expand others. When you celebrate progress beyond your own, you align with abundance rather than scarcity. Scarcity mindset repels increase. Abundance mindset welcomes it. God is also training you to recognize divvy, not timing. There is a moment when preparation meets opportunity. Acting too early creates frustration. Acting too late creates regret. Sensitivity to timing comes through closeness to God. Stay attentive. Stay responsive. Timing transforms ordinary action into extraordinary outcome. You may notice that distractions no longer satisfy you. Entertainment that once filled time now feels empty. Conversations without depth now feel draining. This is a sign of elevation. God is refining your appetite. When appetite changes, direction changes. Focus becomes sharper. Energy becomes intentional. God is also teaching you stewardship of thought. Thoughts shape decisions. Decisions shape destiny. Fear-based thinking limits expansion. Faith-based thinking invites growth. God has been encouraging you, T. Oh, challenge negative assumptions, to replace doubt with discernment, to align your internal dialogue with truth rather than emotion. Mastery begins in the mind. As the preparation deepens, you will notice an increasing sense of responsibility. Responsibility is not weight, it is purpose. God entrusts more to those who carry responsibility with humility. Complaints decrease when responsibility is embraced. Victimhood dissolves when ownership is accepted. God promotes those who take ownership of their growth. There will be moments when you must choose discipline over comfort. Comfort preserves the present. Discipline builds the future. God is training you to prioritize long-term impact over short-term relief. This choice separates those who dream from those who build. Builders endure disco because they see beyond it. God is also reminding you that integrity is non-negotiable. Shortcuts undermine stability. Compromise weakens foundation. Integrity attracts trust, and trust attracts opportunity. Wealth without integrity creates fear. Wealth with integrity creates freedom. God establishes those who refuse to trade values for velocity. You are learning to listen more deeply. Dance often comes quietly. Wisdom rarely shouts. God speaks through insight, through intuition, aligned with truth, through moments of clarity that require stillness to perceive. Cultivate stillness. Noise blocks instruction. Stillness sharpens discernment. As you continue, remember that preparation is ongoing. Each level introduces new lessons. Humility keeps you teachable. Gratitude keeps you grounded. Obedience keeps you aligned. God does not elevate to isolate. God elevates to influence. Influence used wisely multiplies purpose. The blessing that is forming is not fragile. It is being built with intention, resilience, and depth. When it arrives, it will not be accidental. It will reflect years of unseen growth, disciplined choices, quiet obedience, and sustained trust. And as the preparation continues, remain faithful in the small moments, attentive in the quiet seasons, and confident in the unseen work unfolding. Because what God is shaping within you is becoming strong enough to carry what is ahead. And the journey itself continues to expand your capacity to receive, to manage, and to multiply with wisdom, stability, and purpose that remains anchored, forward-moving, and ally. Ted, as the unfolding work progresses without pause. There is also a refining of intention happening that reaches deeper than action and deeper than thought. God examines motives, not just movements. You may do the right thing outwardly, but God is shaping why you do it inwardly. Motive determines longevity. When motives are pure, progress is sustainable. When motives are mixed, progress becomes unstable. God is cleansing your intentions so that when influence expands, it does not distort your heart. This inner clarity is protection, because clear intention keeps power from becoming poison. God is teaching you to distinguish between control and faith. Control seeks certainty before action. Faith moves with conviction, even when certainty is incomplete. Many people delay their destiny because they wait for perfect conditions. God is teaching you that obedience creates conditions. Movement invites clarity. As you step forward in trust, guidance unfolds. This rhythm is essential for those entrusted with large responsibility, because not every decision will come with full visibility. Faith is the ability to move wisely without panic when answers are still forming. There is also a strengthening of emotional maturity taking place. Emotional reactions drain energy. Emotional mastery preserves. God has been allowing situations that challenge your patience, not to provoke you, but to teach you composure. Wealth multiplies pressure. Influence multiplies demand. Without emotional stability, expansion becomes overwhelming. God is training you to respond rather than react, to remain calm while making complex decisions, to stay grounded when expectations rise. God is also reshaping your understanding of authority. True authority does not dominate, it serves with clarity. It does not shout, it stands firm. God is preparing you to lead without insecurity, to influence without manipulation, to direct without arrogance. Authority anchored in humility commands respect without demanding it. This kind of authority attracts collaboration, loyalty, and trust, essential elements for lasting success. There is a divine emphasis on consistency in your preparation. Intensity can inspire, but consistency builds. God values faithfulness in repetition, excellence in routine, integrity in the unseen. Many abandon progress because they mistake boredom for stagnation. God teaches that steady obedience compounds quietly. What seems small when repeated daily becomes powerful over time. Millionaire blessing rests on consistency more than bursts of effort. God is also deepening your understanding of stewardship beyond money. Time, energy, relationships, focus. These are currencies too. How you manage these reveals your readiness for more. Waste in small areas create leaks in large ones. God is training you to honor what you have now, because respect for present resources invites future expansion. You may notice that your tolerance for compromise has decreased. What once felt acceptable now feels misaligned. This is discernment sharpening. God is raising your standard because the level you are approaching demands it. Higher ground requires stronger footing. God does not elevate carelessly. God elevates responsibly. God is also teaching you to navigate uncertainty without losing confidence. Certainty is comfortable, but growth often lives in ambiguity. God wants you to trust guidance more than guarantees. When you learn to rely on God rather than outcomes, fear loosens its grip. Confidence becomes rooted in alignment, not in circumstance. There is also a humbling awareness forming within you that everything you are building is larger than you alone. This awareness keeps ego in check and purpose alive. God blesses those who recognize that success is stewardship, not ownership. When you see yourself as a caretaker rather than a controller, flow increases. God has been developing your capacity for gratitude even before manifestation. Gratitude. D, before results, is faith in action. It signals trust in what is unfolding. Complaints signal resistance. Gratitude signals alignment. God responds to alignment with acceleration. When appreciation becomes your posture, increase finds a welcome environment. Another aspect of preparation is resilience through disappointment. Not every effort yields immediate reward. Not every investment produces instant return. God is teaching you to persist without bitterness, to learn without quitting, to adjust without abandoning vision. Resilience transforms setbacks into strategy. God strengthens those who remain flexible yet focused. God is also refining your communication. Words carry weight. Precision matters. Clarity prevents confusion. God is training you to speak with purpose, to listen with eye, intent, to communicate vision without distortion. As influence grows, communication becomes a primary tool. God equips those who use words to build rather than to divide. There is a growing awareness of legacy forming in your heart. Legacy thinking shifts priorities. Short-term gratification loses appeal. Long-term impact gains value. God is teaching you to ask not only what benefits you, but what endures beyond you. This mindset attracts resources aligned with sustainability rather than excess. God is also strengthening your faith in unseen provision. Provision does not always appear as money first. Sometimes it appears as ideas, connections, timing, protection, insight. Recognize provision in its many forms. Gratitude for non-monetary provision prepares the way for financial increase. A, preparation continues. Solitude becomes valuable. Solitude sharpens hearing. It removes noise. God often speaks most clearly when distractions are minimal. Learn to value quiet moments. Insight is often born there. Many miss guidance because they fear stillness. God is also teaching you to release urgency that is rooted in fear. Urgency driven by fear creates mistakes. Urgency aligned with purpose. OSE creates momentum. Discern the difference. God's timing is precise, not pressured. Trusting timing preserves peace while progress continues. You are also being trained to receive correction without resistance. Correction refines skill. Resistance limits growth. God corrects those God intends to elevate. Correction is evidence of investment. Embrace it. Adjustment today prevents collapse tomorrow. Ow. God is strengthening your spiritual endurance. Endurance sustains vision when enthusiasm fades. Endurance carries you through monotony, through delay, through seasons where progress is internal rather than visible. Those who endure remain positioned when opportunity finally aligns. There is an increasing awareness that preparation itself is sacred. Every disciplined choice, every restrained reaction, every faithful step is shaping capacity. God honors the unseen obedience that no one applauds. That obedience builds internal wealth before external wealth arrives. As this process continues, remain attentive, remain teachable, remain grounded. The preparation is not slowing, it is deepening. What is being formed within you is becoming stable, resilient, and aligned. And as this work company continues without interruption, your capacity continues to expand quietly, steadily, purposefully, making room for what is ahead as the unfolding journey remains active, intentional, and guided by God at every step, with growth still in motion and preparation still shaping the vessel that will carry what is yet to come. Now understand this with absolute clarity. The season you are in is not accidental, and the weight you feel is not random. God does not burden what God has not strengthened. Every stretch, every delay, every moment of hidden growth has been intentional, because what is being prepared requires depth, stability, and unwavering alignment. You were never being punished, you were being positioned. You were never forgotten, you were being refined. God has been shaping your inner world so that when the outer world changes, you remain steady, wise, and anchored. What is coming will demand more than excitement. It will demand maturity. It will demand discernment, discipline, and daily dependence on God. And that is why this preparation has been thorough. God is not preparing you for a moment of increase, but for a sustained season of stewardship. What God releases will not be fragile because it is being placed into a life that has learned patience, integrity, restraint, and trust. This blessing will not control you. You will manage it with clarity and purpose. Remember this, the measure of readiness is not how much you desire abundance, but how well you have learned to obey in quiet seasons. God has been watching your consistency when no one was applauding, your faith when results were invisible, your discipline when comfort was tempting. These moments have built something unshakable within you. That inner strength is what qualifies you to carry greater responsibility without losing peace. As you move forward, stay humble, stay grateful, stay attentive. Let God continue to lead every decision, refine every intention, and guide every step. Do not rush what God is unfolding with precision. What has been prepared in patience will arrive with power. And when it does, you will recognize that the true blessing was not only what came into your hands, but what was built within you along the way. As God's preparation fulfilled its purpose and position, you to walk confidently into what has been forming all along. Let this truth settle deeply within you. God never completes a work halfway. What has been started in you will be finished with excellence, precision, and purpose. The preparation you endured was not excessive, it was necessary. God was not only shaping your future, but safeguarding it. What is about to unfold will not overwhelm you because you have been quietly equipped to carry it with wisdom, restraint, and humility. The strength you now possess was earned through obedience, not chance. As doors open and increase begging, to show itself, remain rooted. Do not let speed replace discernment, and do not let opportunity distract you from alignment. God will continue to guide you step by step because sustained blessing requires continual dependence. Every new level will come with new insight, and every new responsibility will be matched with new clarity. Trust that God will not place you where grace cannot sustain. Why? Hold this confidence without arrogance and this expectation without anxiety. You do not need to force what God has already set in motion. Stay faithful in daily action. Stay disciplined in thought. Stay generous in spirit. What is coming will confirm that preparation was not delay, silence was not absence, and struggle was not defeat. It was all part of a deliberate process designed to ensure that when the blessing manifests fully, You will stand steady, focused, and deeply aware that everything unfolding is happening in the right time, under the guidance of God, with purpose still expanding and the journey continuing forward in strength, clarity, and unwavering alignment.